Hi guys.
Hello.
We're back.
It's hello from Bob.
It's hello from Ramon.
And it's hello from Darren.
It's Darren. We've got a Darren sandwich going on today, and more of that in a minute. First of all, a bit of an excuse. We haven't been on for a long time because we recorded a cracking video about 2 weeks ago, but
My fault.
he's got this Victoria Reverber Rocket Rama.
Victoria Wammo.
Okay,
I'm from Essex.
I didn't understand that either, but
Essex.
anyway, and it's a fantastic trem and reverb unit outboard, but it hums like crazy, and the soundtrack to our last video is completely screwed by the hum.
But it doesn't matter because we've got Stephen. We sent an email to Steven Spielberg. He's given us a bit of advice, a bit of coaching, and we're back.
And as usual, as you can see, it's, as ever, no production value has been spared. We've got a crew of literally hundreds behind the camera.
Yeah.
Well,
nice lunch. They brought in a nice lunch.
The caterers, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that. Now, what's the Darren sandwich doing here?
Well, before we do this, guys, in our midst, this is a bombshell. In our midst here, somebody has become a music instrument journalist. I wonder who that could be. Mr. Bob Wooten.
It's true.
Yes. Do tell us.
It's true. Some of you might know of a music instrument retail business called the North American Guitar, founded probably nearly a decade ago now in London, doing very high-end, originally acoustics, but now electrics as well, kind of, Luthier built boutique type stuff. Wonderful business, wonderful people, wonderful products, and they've now split their location between London and Nashville, which is a great business decision for them. But the guys, the editorial guys here in London, basically the marketing comms guys, have initiated a really fantastic thing. They've introduced an online magazine called Connoisseur, which is really about it's a high-end lifestyle around guitars, really. And it's only online. It's only available through an app, which you can get at the App Store. The app is called TNAG Connoisseur. That's how you access it. And they've asked me to be a columnist, writing every 2 months, which is when they publish, about old guitars, which is really exciting for me because I know a bit and I've got a few nice ones, but I don't know nearly as much as a lot of people in this world. But I've got a way of expressing things about these things that they seem to like, so yeah. Off we go.
And I want to say, guys, Bob's a great writer because I've been a fan of his actually writing. Before we even started thinking of doing the show together, you used to post some of your writings on Facebook, which were not to do with guitars so much.
To do with my previous career, which was advertising, and I still write for the advertising industry as well.
So it's great to move that over to now guitars, isn't it?
Well, it's fabulous. I mean, I thought, when I kind of finished full-time work 5 years ago, started working for myself, all going fine, but as I'm getting a bit older, I'm working less and less. And part of me is going, this is great, this is freedom. And part of me is going, because, especially as a bloke, you ascribe a lot of value to what you do. It's the way we're brought up. I'm not saying it's right, but I certainly feel that. And when I'm not doing much, I feel a bit useless. So to actually be asked to do something that I'm not trained to do, but have learned to do late in life, right, but not about advertising, which technically I know a lot about, but about guitars, which I love, it's just fantastic.
Mm-hmm. No, you can definitely, your latest article, you can really just shine through, so yeah. Looking forward to more of it.
I'm afraid, you good folks out there are going to have to endure even more of my, pious rantings in
He's
future.
famous.
In the meantime, however, today we have quite a show for you. Back to, once again, the Darren sandwich. Why and what the fuck?
Well, Darren actually you came, didn't you, and we did an interview a while back, didn't we?
Oh, that was long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah. And the thing about it, we won't go into details, but Darren Darren was sending me lots of, Darren was doing a lot of research. We're going to go into this, a lot of research into especially vintage guitars.
Yes.
And you had access to not only Bob's collection but a lot
Well,
of
no,
Bob's
I met
collection.
Bob through you anyway.
Yeah.
So,
But the thing is you were sending me, you were designing these guitars and trying to do something original. And what I thought, if I may be so bold, is when you came up with essentially this design, which is 3 of these guitars are Darren's latest incarnation of his model, main sort of flagship models. When I saw the photos, and I thought, yeah, you've done it. This is an amazing looking and beautiful guitar. You've done it. And so what was the story? From
well, obviously my love of sort of vintage guitars, and particularly Les Pauls. I've always liked Les Pauls. And then I went to college, learned how to make acoustics. I came out, and I pretty much made vintage spec, not all replicas as such, but
homages.
Exactly, as close as I can get to an old feeling, an old sounding Les Paul bit, single cut, double cut, whatever.
Yeah.
And I've since made other vintage instruments that, and I've made everything I wanted. And then I've decided that actually what the art, from my perspective, is I want a modern playing vintage instrument and feeling. And that's what I've done.
With a kind of unique...
Yeah, I mean the main sort of thing for me was getting it more comfortable. So I've got a belly carve. On that one, my new neck joints, that I've taken away the heel, so I've gone full tenon width.
Yeah.
And it's just everything to make that playable, more
make
playable.
it uniquely yours.
Yes, exactly. And I just, and not only that, but then obviously then I've gone for a telecontrol plate style.
I just commented on this. The selector switch here is angled. It's not in a straight line, and the 2 knobs are slightly further away from the selector switch, which is exactly what any Telecaster player wants. Because if you're on the treble position, you're constantly bumping into the volume control, which is why a lot of guys reverse the plate and stuff like that. So that's absolutely great. Now, what's interesting is I think there's absolutely a market here, because you guys out there, you'll know what's happened to the musical instrument market after lockdown. That new instruments, prices have been stiffening, supply chain has been less flexible, so it's now hard to go into a guitar store and play 25 Strats like you used to. It's much harder to do that, even in the big stores. So you've got all those issues. You've got some, don't want to throw too many stones here, but you've got some quality control issues as well in manufacture, even amongst the big names to contend with. You've got the rise of relics and custom shops, and the rise of their prices, which are now getting pretty fruity. They are in turn pushing the bottom end of the vintage market up, because if you can charge $3.5, $4.5 grand, let's say, for a custom shop Strat, and you're going to drop that kind of money, well, that's the kind of money you used to drop on a decent single cut Junior, almost on a Cherry double cut Junior, certainly on a 330, my beloved favourites. So what's happened is the bottom end of the vintage market's gone up, and what this does is this absolutely creates space for somebody who's creating instruments that are absolutely vintage informed, but they're not pretending to be replicas. You can see from these guitars, they've got their own headstock design. This is the Daniels Guitars headstock design. It's a very attractive design. It's slightly Paul Reed Smith, but actually slightly nicer.
The funny thing, well, I did, that was one of the first things I did with my single cuts. I did a headstock like that because I wanted to straighten the strings out through the neck.
That's it.
And not only that, what's funny is if anyone's looked at Sir Aura, his design is very much like my headstock, although I did mine first.
But we're not.
No, but from a design point of view.
No lawsuits, but it works and it's yours.
Yeah.
And so so in other words, they're distinctive, right? When you play these instruments, as we're going to sort of find out, when you pick up one of these instruments, you're slightly confused. I'm confused as a player because I live in a house full of vintage instruments and I'm a known bloody snob about them. But you know, when you pick up one of these, I get confused because I'm going, hold on a minute, this is a new instrument. It's just been made. But it's got stuff going on that is like, but it's doing some of the things you want it to do, mate.
So let's hear a bit of playing of just this one guitar. So what are you calling this model, Darren? What's this called?
These models here with like the idea with these models is anyone can mix and match. So I want people to be able to mix and match pickups.
So you can choose your own pickups.
Well, as in, I mean, I'm always going to be using Mojo pickups, but you can use different. I mean, I've done ones with Firebird neck, P90. This is probably going to be one of my favourites, as in like humbucker P90.
My favourite is a Firebird and a staple.
Yeah, and obviously, and this one's a staple neck with a telly bridge.
Yeah.
And you can get all the classic kind of sounds.
And this one here, this is a Filtertron, isn't it?
Yeah, this one's a custom sort of
with a
Duesenberg Les Trem, but I did this one for a guitar show, so this one
special one-off.
Yeah,
special
I mean, obviously now I did a.
But you're gonna let me go home with this one, aren't you, today? Yeah.
Well, yeah. But and I love purple, so that's
Prince.
And I needed a home for a set of Mojotrons.
No, this is beautiful. It's so let's hear this one first.
Okay, so in the neck we've got a P90, nickel covered P90. I'm playing this pretty quiet, pretty clean, but. Nicely balanced. If we go to the middle, these are going to be in parallel, in phase, I think. Yeah, in parallel, in phase. I have to say, I've never played a P90 in parallel with a humbucker in my life. So already,
it's a great sound.
And it's a glinty, nice sound.
And it's got a bit of a telly coming through, hasn't it?
A little bit of telly coming through.
And
of course, this is important because you get the guys on Sunbursts, and they all say Sunbursts is like a telly on steroids.
Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
And you go, hold on, Sunburst, a Les Paul and a Telecaster, totally different ends of the street. No, they meet in the middle. Yeah. That's the charm of these great old
these, like this one and this one, they cross over in tonal sort of variations.
And then you've got the humbucker in the bridge. It's got a bit more meat to it. It's quite a versatile guitar. This just cosmetically, I've talked about the switch, which I just love that little angle. It's got Telecaster knobs. The thing I like most about this guitar of all is what I think is quite a brave decision. You've got a flat top with a sunburst and quite a nice piece of figured wood.
That's figured English ash.
English ash.
Yeah.
Okay. Stop tailpiece. Pickups we talked about.
Made in England.
Zero Coty fretboard.
You've got
Darren, are you making these in England?
Of course I am.
Made in England, guys.
We love it. Fly the flag. And you've got these trapezoid inlays like you get on a Les Paul or an SG. And I think it was these guys have got dots, and I would have thought that dots were the obvious choice with this guitar. And I just love these trapezoids because they just, again, they just put you off balance somehow in the right way. So what I feel when I'm playing this guitar, the one thing I've talked with Darren about today before we kind of start this video is all these guitars have just been made. They're recent. So the one thing is, because I'm so used to playing old guitars, I find all these guitars, the necks feel quite new. The frets aren't very worn in yet, and the frets are relatively high, and the finishes on the back of the neck, there's probably more lacquer here than I would be comfortable with, but some serious wear on this, and this is going to feel like...
And these are nitro on it, it's just nitro cellulose.
It's nitro, so it's going to wear the right way. The profile of the neck, this doesn't feel like a modern guitar under the hand.
Fantastic. So Darren, what's this one? This has got a beautiful flame maple neck, quite a chunky neck, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, this is an alder body with a maple neck.
Alder body, maple neck.
Yeah, and I was going for sort of
and what is this rosewood?
That one's Zero Coty as well. I really like
Zero Coty?
Zero Coty fretboard, yeah.
Where's that from?
It's probably an African. It's an African one. Yeah, I'm sure it's African.
Nice and dark, nice and figures like a good piece of darkish Brazilian rosewood, actually.
I mean, it's a lovely fretboard wood.
And without all the endangered species importation issues.
Yeah, I mean, I've got sort of quite a lot of all of these sort of rosewood.
So environmentally friendly guitars.
Yeah, and then I mean I haven't got it.
Vegan guitars.
Easy. Sorry.
Yeah. No, but one of the things I wanted.
Are you vegan, Bob?
I'm not vegan.
Neither am I.
I'm a declared carnivore.
Yes, same
Who'd
here.
have known? Who'd have thought that?
Yeah.
His virility doesn't come from veganism, I tell you that.
Yeah. So, but the idea is like something lightweight you can pick up. Sounds like an old guitar.
Yeah.
That one's £7.3.
7.3 pounds.
That one's 8. That one's heavy, and this is probably 7.5-ish. But my really lightweight one that I actually sold, that was 6.3, and I've got more coming through. I reckon I'll be able to get a humbucker and a P90 down to about £6.5.
Ooh. So let's have a little strum of this one. Let's hear how. Let's go through some tones here. Oh, do you want to turn up?
Have a bit of.
All the
Well,
time.
that's just like you go.
Yeah. So now we've got what we got there. We've got a staple. So could you go back,
Yeah.
guys? This is a staple pickup. It's a 56 staple pickup. It's nice.
Yeah, it has more focus than a P90. To me, it's got like a bit more chime and a bit more body. So
That's nice. Yeah. Okay, and then if you go to the bridge,
yeah,
so this is the Telecaster. Which is quite charmy, would you say, Bob? It's
Yeah.
charmy sound. And
Yeah.
then in the middle?
and then
In
yeah.
the middle. It's quite interesting hearing a staple and a bridge, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's chimey.
Those two pickups go really well together in
They
that
do.
little position. It's really
But
surprising.
the thing, what's interesting is
Gleaming body.
is you start boosting this on the bridge and it will get into PAF territory.
Yeah.
That's really what it'll do. Yeah, no, it's well,
And the colour, what is this? Candy apple red?
candy apple red, and then I did a nod to the old Gibsons on the back with a burst neck.
So you got a sunburst, guys, on the back of the neck.
This has got
and a
my
sunburst out of a metallic, which is, you look at it very closely, it's just a lot of fun to look at.
And because you were saying, Bob, you'd love a candy apple red on a no, candy apple green on a strap.
On a strap.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that would be nice.
And the other thing is, all my fretboards, they're all the old vintage scale, so they're not like a modern Gibson scale. They're literally 58 to 60 or whatever. It's the old rule of 18. So all the fretboards are all based on the old ones.
So you're saying that the fretboards, the way you lay the fret measurements,
the scale length,
the scale length
they're
is
all
the same as a 58 Les Paul.
Yeah. I mean, all
59
in the
Les Paul.
golden 50s. Yeah.
Okay.
It's,
And you've got those measurements because you actually had real.
I've got a 58, but I mean I've measured as well. I mean I've got a 58 double cut basket case to restore.
So these are
That's
the stars.
one of the things is that had a really nice neck, but
Yeah.
it wasn't big though. That's the thing. It was comfortable.
Interesting.
So let's play this one here. So this here is
Tell
got
us
the,
something about it first. Or-
It's got Mojotrons, which are and I had a bridge that was slightly overwound, but that's
who made these?
They're Mojo.
Mojo
Says it on the
Mojo.
Yeah.
You know, is that the guy that I used to know?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that guy.
I used to know this guy that used to make Mojo pickups,
Yeah.
and then he never talked to me again.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Yeah.
Tell him to call me.
This one's fully chambered because this was a piece of.
So this is
was
chambered?
Yeah,
And it's still quite heavy. It's £8, well, not heavy.
Yeah,
it's
but
£8.
purely. I mean, that's Honduran as well.
Feel the weight on that.
Yeah, that's chunky. That's
But-
heavy.
And it's chambered.
But that's Honduran. Everyone keeps saying, banging
That's a
on
beautiful.
about. But to
beautiful
me,
piece.
Honduran's
colour.
been hit and miss for me with weight wise. So.
Right.
Yeah, it can be very heavy.
And I've had two blanks and one was really heavy, which was like that, and I've had one that was light.
Right.
So, and what I wanted, obviously, that I want decent lightweight.
Metallic purple.
Yeah. Well,
Beautiful.
I love purple.
I'll do some close up, but that's a beautiful, sparkly in the light.
It's just Cadbury's chocolate, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's absolutely
That's
Barra
it.
Cadbury's chocolate.
Cadbury's
And
chocolate.
then I did
American guys, American, Canadian, Australian.
No, we're
fans.
going to be frank here, aren't we?
Yeah. I don't care
I'm
where
going to be frank if you aren't.
I don't care what country you come from. The best chocolate in the world is Cadbury's by a long mile. Would you agree?
Well, I was going to be a little more. I was going to be a little more generous and just say that Hershey stuff absolutely sucks. Right. So the nearest thing that we have in England to it is the kind of blackboard chalk that teachers used to use when they used chalk on blackboards, and they used to use coloured ones like red and yellow. And you remember the yellow was a primrose yellow,
Yes.
and the blue was a kind of powder blue, but there was a brown one, and it was a bit of a dirty protest brown, a bit kind of this colour. And if you put some of that in your mouth and crunch it up, and that's pretty much what I think of Hershey's chocolate. Now, of course, the problem for us Brits is the company that brings you Hershey's also brings you Cadbury's chocolate.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Which is why I've kind of wound down on the Cadbury's a bit, because it's gradually dwindling.
Really?
Just like the accountants
no.
killed Fender and Gibson in the late 60s, early 70s, the accountants are in there and killing Cadbury's chocolate. Thank God for Mars Incorporated and Galaxy.
I'm just going to say, it's
Yeah,
Galaxy
they're pretty good.
next.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Galaxy is pretty.
next.
So, but anyway, I used to remember. I used to go to Morocco with a bit like this of Cadbury's, and the Moroccans. By the time I got to my hotel, it was all gone.
Yeah.
I'd had taxi drivers stopping in the street. Oh, can I have some? Because you can't get anything like that quality.
Fabulous.
You know.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's go back
Back
to
to
this.
that.
Yeah,
No stone unturned here, fellas.
no.
So that's the neck.
Yeah.
We're going to go here. So that is in between, and then we've got a nice sort of. This is in the bridge.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly how good these pickups are, aren't they?
They're a
I
really
love those
good,
pickups.
they're a good
Yeah.
alternative to a PAF, aren't they?
Absolutely. I don't own a single set of the originals or the reissues, but every time I play them, these are the kind of pickups I think similar anyway to what are on Cabronita Telecasters,
Yeah.
which I love Cabronita Telecasters.
But it's with the plectrum.
These pickups I found is on the bottom strings, but all the clarity down here. That's what I
Yeah.
found.
Well, it's so it's basically even here, sort of. But this is a testament to guys. This guy's necks are just absolutely fabulous.
They're lovely.
And there's no dead spots. Just,
Tell me, talking of necks, so from here, it's probably just the angle, but that neck looks quite flat to me. It doesn't look as
it
radius.
feels
no,
flat.
it's 12.
It's 12.
It
Yeah.
feels really flat.
With 12, which is quite flat, because vintage would be kind of 9.5-ish, would it, or 10, or
No, according to everyone else, even on the burst, they're 12.
are they?
Yeah.
Are
But
these 12s that have
but
been
my
refretted?
theory is that once people have had them fretted or whatever,
Yeah.
then the radius changes.
Ah.
It's a bit like someone saying, "Oh, I thought, was it Steve Ray Vaughan's Strat? That's not a vintage radius."
No, it's 7.25, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that radius has changed
Okay.
over.
Okay, but this is a really interesting question I want to ask you, Bob, and you. So, your guitar's never had a refret, has it?
No.
And what does the radius feel like on that?
The radius feels tighter. I'm not holding that, so I can't say for sure, but that looks flatter to me.
Okay.
And actually, it looks a little flatter than this one, and it looks a
Yeah.
little flatter than this one feels.
So my question is to you, Bob. Do you think that most people are thinking I'm pointing over here because we're going to bring it out in a minute. But do you think that most people who think that they are measuring these bursts are they measuring bursts that have had a big plain fretboard?
Well, there is a theory though that on some of the bursts, or they're saying that there could be a 10-inch radius. So that's another thing. I mean, I
Because
have
a lot of
got a
guitars
radius
have had
gauge on that. I will do at some point.
A lot of these bursts have had refrets and they've been planed, haven't they? Because you can see from the binding, it's really thin.
Yeah, well, in some cases they have.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, in this case, I mean, at least as far as I can see, these are the original frets. Because if one was going to refret this guitar, one would put 59 frets on it.
Yeah.
Because frankly, it does make them play and sound even better.
Yeah.
But this one, as far as I can see, hasn't been touched yet. Whereas my gold top, I have had refretted.
Right.
But again, he didn't shoot when he shot the neck, pulled the frets out carefully. and obviously just tidied the neck up. He shot the neck by just a micron or two.
Right.
He didn't take serious meat off it.
Right.
And you put it, I mean, and to be fair, he probably didn't flatten that board fully.
No.
I mean, you only have to do a sympathetic.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of these measurements have come from, in my personal opinion, I might be wrong here, but maybe these have been really, refretted 3 times and planed to death.
Well,
And then they're taking a measurement
It's
and
hard to
gone,
say because I mean.
Well, it's been 60 years, hasn't it?
But the thing is, I mean, all of those guitars were none of them are the same. None of them.
No.
I mean, all the different. It's like I played your 59335. The other 59335 I played completely different
Yeah.
deck.
Yeah.
Completely.
Because they were all finished, hand finished, on a belt sander
Yeah.
in those days. So I mean, obviously you had craftsmen who had an idea of how to be consistent,
Yeah.
but it was consistent within an individual's interpretation, and there were probably Monday mornings and Friday afternoons and.
And the other thing as well, I wonder whether it's like preference. You know, like someone going, "Right, that neck's a bit fat." Do you know what I mean? I'll just take a bit more of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So Darren, what is your ethos? Are you trying to do the same as Gibson, like make each neck different?
All my necks are, they're all in the ballpark, but they're all different, all of them. I mean, all my necks are hand carved. There's no machinery involved whatsoever in any of it. And the other thing as well is I'd always finish off my necks with it strung up, because that's when you feel what the thing's like.
Yeah.
So and also, and then rather than have all fat necks or whatever, then I've this one's slightly slimmer than that one. It's so that someone that wants to come and play can this might be a baseball bat compared to what they're used to. So.
And do you make these guitars yourself, or do you have other help?
No, it's just me.
So it's just you making the guitar?
Start to finish, including the nitro.
It's really interesting. I've never heard anybody, I'm sure there are other people out there who do this, but I've never heard it said, but the idea that you finish the neck once it's strung up to tension, which is so wise, and again, that just speaks against any kind of mass manufacture. Because that, in terms of manufacturing process, that's a thoroughly inconvenient thing to do.
But it's
the right thing to do.
all the soul of the guitar is in that neck, and
So,
how it feels to play. But the thing is that I've done necks where I thought, oh, maybe I've gone a bit too thin, and then when I've strung it up, I've gone, this is really good.
Yeah.
So guys, let's move on. Let's... Is that right?
No.
What? What do you mean it's not right?
It's short. You've got a G in there, and then a D, and then an A. So the raw chords, if you were playing it like from a songbook and really crappy, it would be.
What's that G is?
And then to the.
Oh. Okay, let me try again. So I've been playing it wrong for 25 years?
Yeah.
I bet none of the punters minded.
Okay.
Oh!
Okay, so this one's got a really meaty. You can imagine sort of. Sort of real, sort of punky, thick sound. Has that got something similar?
So,
it's got the same, that sort of thick sort of abandonment. You can just strum it and what does it feel like?
it feels great, and it feels that the neck is quite biggish, which is how it's supposed to feel in my opinion. I also like this one a lot because the neck is finished less glossy, so it feels slightly less recent for my ancient withered old hands.
Lovely hands.
The thing I like best about this guitar, though, I have to say, by far, I think this finish
Yeah.
is spectacular. Blue paisley, not blue flower, blue paisley on a double cut junior, wraparound, P90, volume and tone, bloody brilliant. And tell us something about the mechanics, the wood mechanics going on in here, because your neck joins are are interesting, aren't they? I mean,
Well-
do a sort of compare and contrast.
No, to be fair, on with the double cut, this is all based on like vintage construction. So
Okay.
we've got vintage style truss rod construction, all of that stuff.
Right.
Even like I said, I've got a 58, that I need to restore. So a lot of the stuff is based on that.
Right.
But
You've got a little heel thing here, haven't you, for your armrest?
Oh yeah, the only thing
yes.
I did a small forearm contour, which I think adds to it. And the other thing that I really like is a strap button on the horn, which works.
Not on the heel like it is on the original.
Yeah, which I don't like so much.
And the reason I leave that there is purely for
Yes,
originality.
absolutely.
I mean, I've got a couple of guitars here. I've got an Epiphone 230T and from 1962, and I've got an ES225TN natural from 1956, and both of them are straight out of the factory with no strap button at all, which means you can't gig them unless you put a piece of string around them or you drill a hole in them, and I'm not going to be the man that drills a hole in those lovely guitars, so they're not really gigging guitars unless you're sitting down.
I was going to say the other thing as well is this is all aged, so the blue there that you see, that would be what you'd find under an original pick guard.
Yeah.
And then you've got the aged lacquer on top,
Right.
and then it's all checked.
Like a smoky.
And then
like
it's all checked as well.
sort of smoking bar room.
Well, they fade over time. So this is where you get, like Pelham blue that goes green.
Yeah.
It's all that. That's what you end up
And
with.
who made that pickup?
That's Mojo again.
Who?
Yeah, him.
Sky.
Yeah.
Mr. Mojo, give me a phone call sometime.
Oh, meow!
No, I mean, he doesn't talk. He doesn't speak to. We're not talking
Oh,
anymore.
no.
We don't speak. We don't talk. Cliff Richard.
Yeah.
We don't talk anymore.
Oh, you managed to get Cliff Richard into one of our videos.
I love Cliff Richard.
That's a cardinal sin, that is.
Oh.
I love Cliff Richard.
Right, now listen, just
You find the
like-
calendars as well.
now,
Your calendars.
Yeah, you've got calendars.
Oh, check them out on eBay.
they're not pornographic, are they?
No, no.
Well,
Well,
he's a religious
half a
man.
shirt open.
He's a religious man. I have to know.
Okay. Right, now look,
Yeah.
right, while volume's off,
Yeah.
let's just have a... Yeah, they're both very lively, you see.
Yeah.
I mean, all these guitars are really, they ring and they're resonant, before you've even plugged them in, which is a
Yeah.
great sign.
Yeah.
I love this. I
And
think
what
it's
about
so
playing
beautiful.
a little bit of blues?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, that works. I mean, the guitars work great together too.
Yeah, they sound really.
Yeah, I love those
and
guitars.
surprisingly, they've got quite a piercing, sort of beautiful, airy top end, haven't they? Which you wouldn't think of it.
Well, so
To me, they do some of the nicest, chimiest chord stuff. I mean, everyone keeps going on about the rock and roll and all that, but they do so much
Sex
more.
Pistols.
They do more than that in my
Buzz
opinion.
Clubs.
it's interesting how you went straight for that kind of, the real
Yeah.
stuff like that. They are fantastic for that. But I never play mine like that because I'm not that kind of guitarist. I
Yeah.
sort of play sweet stuff. And
Yeah.
what I think
You're
so
a sweet
interesting-
man.
Yeah.
Some would say.
He was a sweet man.
Which-
Guys,
You
guys.
invited me round.
He's a sweet man.
But
Yeah, and
But-
I mean that in all sense of the word.
when I play, I tend to play, that kind of bluesy stuff, which is more of a coaxing thing. And I find that this guitar is it's kind of a bit humbuckery.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
You
It's
know,
very
roll the
airy.
tone off. It's,
Yeah.
It's got that humbucker
roll the
airy
tone
thing.
off it, and the lead tone you get out of it when it's cranked.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Superb.
yeah. Oh, just yeah.
There's a fantastic video of Laurie Wisefield playing with Wishbone Ash. Right, there's several videos actually on YouTube of Laurie Wisefield playing. I might put a link up in this video, and they are. It's just literally him through his Marshall and a double cut Cherry Junior from 58 to 59.
Wow.
Okay, it's great guitar playing too, but my God, he gets the whole range of stuff out of a single pickup guitar.
And why do you like double cuts rather than single cuts? Why?
Well, actually, I don't. That's the funny thing. I mean, I like them both for different reasons. The single cut I've got from 55 has actually got a slightly richer, thicker, creamier tone.
Mm-hmm.
But again, because I'm a bit of a purist, I keep the original frets on it, and the original frets are skinny, so it's harder to play. Whereas this has got the later wide frets, so it's easier to play. So I like them both for different reasons.
Right.
Have you found that though with the double cuts? They're almost like they're a lot more raw than the single.
Yeah.
You know, like
I think they
they're
are.
almost like the single cuts are refined.
A bit more smooth.
And these are like the skinheads, you know, like
Think
with,
so.
with the bobber boots.
I think so.
Skinhead, the punks, and
Yeah.
because I think even Andy Summers, I think even he played one of these. I think I've seen it on a police video. I might be wrong.
Okay.
Might be wrong, but I think it was the kind of new wave punk guitar, wasn't it, in the 80s?
Well, of course, the police came from a little before that. I mean, they came from the backwash of
70s,
punk
yeah,
in the
yeah.
mid-70s.
Yeah.
But and of course, the single cut, beaten up single cut particularly, was the punk guitar,
The punk guitar.
because they were as cheap as chips in those days.
Yeah. And you could throw them around and hit your bass player around the head,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably make it more intelligent.
Yeah, and in those days, of course, you wouldn't be dead. However great they were, you wouldn't have been seen dead playing an early telly, because
No.
you would have been a country picker.
Yeah.
And
And a Strat would be even worse.
that would have been a progressive
Or-
rock musician.
Or a Les Paul would be like going back, a bit hippie sort of
Display of wealth, display of sophistication,
Yeah,
whereas
yeah.
punk was all about burn it down.
Yeah, play the simplest.
Yeah.
What was the Elvis? Elvis
I love
Costello
those
play one of
pickups.
these?
No, he plays jazz masters, isn't
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah.
I mean, they're one of my favourite pickups, without a doubt.
he? Yeah. They are
A
just
dog
great.
ear, even better to me than a soap bar. You know, for some reason, I don't.
Tell me why.
I haven't put my finger on it.
No, nor can I, but I agree with you.
But I can't work it, and I'm building a single car,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and it's going to have one of them, and now I'm thinking about putting a telly neck pickup in it, right? And because I can't work out what I like about that over a soap bar, but that does it.
So
that
guys,
does things that a soap bar does
okay.
not do.
Okay.
So one thing with Darren's guitars is that you can, I'm gonna when I sell some of my pedals, I'm gonna put the money into one of Darren's guitars. I promised him. I want to buy one of them, fair and square. And I
I'm
want
booking my holiday now.
and I want to have the Firebird pickup.
Yeah. Oh, that's
and
another
a
one.
staple pickup in the neck. So
Oh, okay.
What's great about Darren is you can choose. You can choose basically anything. You can build. You can tell him exactly this, as long as it follows this sort of style or this style. His sort of style. You can spec any pickup you want in the guitar, which I think is really nice.
Are you also going to have one of those mixer taps that enables you to have freezing cold or scalding hot water out at the same time, or not on this one?
Well, maybe not on this one, Master. But
A quokka.
Is that to make your tea in the morning?
That's to make your tea without boiling a kettle.
Bring you your tea
For the person who's got so much time pressure in their life already, they haven't got time to boil a kettle. Oh.
So,
Right.
I'm glad you agree on that pickup, though.
I really do. I really
Yeah.
do. Completely agree. And it's so interesting because obviously, my gold top, for example, has got a pair of soap bars in
Yeah.
it. And that's got the dog ears, and I've got
Yeah.
lots of dog ears and stuff.
Yeah.
I have to say, I mean, the guts are supposed to be identical.
I know.
But
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but those pickups soap bars don't even come close. You might, but they do. That does chimey stuff that soap bar doesn't do.
yeah.
So what's the future, Darren? Where's the future? Where can people kind of get your guitar? How can they come and play them? Where are you selling them? Tell us.
Obviously, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and
As Daniel's Guitars.
yes, obviously there is a reason for that, but we won't go into that now. And I've got a website as well.
You've got the website, the Instagram.
Yeah, and Facebook. All
What's your Instagram handle?
Just Daniel's Guitars.
Daniel's Guitar on
Same as
Instagram.
Facebook, you'll find me
Facebook's
on.
the same.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what about shops? So have you got them in any shops yet, or is it just
Uh,
exclusive sort of?
I mean, I've got someone I know with a shop, and I'm looking at trying to put some in there.
But you're in the guitar shows, aren't you? You go to the guitar shows in England sometimes.
At the moment, I'm trying to concentrate on like the online boutiques sort of shows because, in my opinion, for us small makers, we can't get enough guitars into people's hands, and people are walking by badge buying, which I want to try and sort of. I'd like to be able to say, well, try that and try your badged, mass-made stuff and see what you think, and try not to look at stuff just because it's got a badge on it.
I mean, and I feel that I've known Darren when he first started. He sort of came over to my place. Do you remember?
Yeah,
when I was living in Walton-on-Thames.
Yeah.
And just to see you've now got these amazing, and I've seen the hard work and the research, guys. This guy's done on vintage guitars. He's looked at the blueprints. He's had guitars apart from the 1950s, and he's really done his research. So what you're getting in his product is all of that knowledge and research and all tinkering he's done for thousands of hours in that guitar. And that's why I think these are really special.
The next ones will be like the calf top, so I want to do like a modern burst and a modern custom.
Because I want to order a Neil Young black thing off you. You know?
Yeah, I mean I love Bob's Gold Top and I love his burst, but I want to update them with my with
pick
the
up
back
configuration.
No, not necessarily that, but I mean with all the looks and feel and everything else of the old ones, but I want the modern playability of like the back of these
lighter,
like maybe lighter weight, and that's my vision anyway. I mean I love the vintage ones, but they're clunky and outdated to my feel.
So I want to say thanks for coming along. I think that's pretty much it. We'll jam. I'll pick up his red guitar and we'll jam something out here. But I think that's it, pretty much. Yeah.
I think we're good. I hope you've enjoyed this one. We're going to come back with next time. Our video is probably going to be the components of the one that we screwed up because of the hum out of the reverb unit. All I'd say as an advertisement for it is hold on to your wigs.
But I get one for right, okay.
If that isn't cryptic, nothing is.
Here we go.
Okay.
Hey, I feel like we're in Andertons. I feel like we're the Andertons guys.
Oh yeah.
What's up? Hey.
Until next time, guys, from
Darren
and from
Ramon
and from
señor.
him. Cheerio.
Hasta luego,
Have fun.
muchachos. Hasta luego.
Bye.